Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Call of Cthulhu Lost Archive. We continue. I was recording earlier, but I had no audio. But luckily, I didn't get too far, just a couple of prompts. So, a little reminder for myself because I am under the weather, so my mind is not working as well as it should be. But I want to record and get another episode complete for you guys. So, I just asked a question to the Oracle: what is on the card, and where are we headed? The card directs us to the Orkney Library in Orkney, Massachusetts. You're about to embark on a journey to seek out Henry Armitage, a member of the Watchers, a secret society dedicated to understanding and containing supernatural forces. And I said, story hack as we're driving. It's beginning to rain, and we have to find a place to stay. The rain's lashing at the windshield. It looks like we pulled off to the side at a motel. Neon flickering light. The Bates Motel, which is very familiar. Okay, so let's see. What's our currency? Our credit rating is 50, is 30. That's my credit rating. So that's pretty much I can spend. I've not been tracking currency at all because we haven't really spent much of anything. So that is something I can try here. We have 550. We have 5,000 in savings. Our character makes 60,000 a year. This is based on the original Call of Cthulhu. And the newer one, it's more not a yearly tracking income, but it's more of let's see if I can find another character sheet here that has the current Cthulhu edition. Let's see, just for reference, so you guys can Elric. It's all Elric. A lot of Elric character sheets. I know I have one. There we go. So a modern Call of Cthulhu mythos, Call of Cthulhu character sheet. The backside, you do track wealth. You have spending level, which is roughly how much you can spend, I'm assuming a day or so. You have 800 on cash on hand and 20,000 in assets. Then you list the assets. There is no there's no yearly income as the older classic Cthulhu game supposedly looks like does track. So, which is fine. That's quite all right. But anyways, let's get off that detour and back on track here. Now, uh, David approaches the front door to the lobby. Anybody behind the desk? A plump, middle-aged woman with a bored expression sits behind the counter reading a magazine. Okay. Let's see. We ask her if there are any rooms for tonight, just for tonight. And again, credit rating is 30, which I'm assuming we roll at or below. Leslie, in the rain outside. Sure, got plenty of rooms. $20 a night. Okay. So because it's only 20 bucks, I can roll for credit rating here, or we can just say he's able to spend that. I mean, 20 bucks. Yeah, we haven't been tracking currency, but let's say we make this a little easier, and I add 20 as a modifier because there is no half and fifth in this version of Call of Cthulhu, but I'm putting in a house rule here. We can add a modifier to increase the likelihood to spend. So I'm gonna bump it up to 50%. Five. So even with the modifier, he's able to spend. Okay. So David will pay, and do we get the key and room number? She slides a key across the counter, room 7, end of the hall on the left. Okay. We grab our belongings and make our way to room 7. We have this adventurous task of getting a motel room. Trying to think what could happen here. What would make sense to happen here? Another vision, another episode, something psychotic where we could roll for sanity. The room is small and sparsely furnished, with a musty smell and flickering lamp. Against every belongings down, manuscript heavy presence on the nightstand. The rain continues to drum against the window. Some of the words closing into the restless sleep. Okay. Story hack. Something not significant, but perhaps supernatural happens overnight. Let's see what happens. You wake up with a gas, your heart pounding, the room is dark and the rain is still falling, but something is different. The manuscript glows faintly on the nightstand. A cold, damp presence fills the room. Whisper seems to slither around the edges of your consciousness, a voice like churning water. The tally is claimed. Okay, so we will roll a sanity check. 30. Well, hold on. We've experienced this before, the voice thing in the car, I think, some time ago. Perhaps he will answer back. David sits up, listens silently for a few moments, and then speaks back, asking what the tally is. David is trying to cooperate with whatever is speaking to him, whatever spirit, supernatural moment is happening. The whisper intensifies, swirling around you like a vortex of voices. The tally, it is the price, the blood, it must be paid. The room grows colder, the air heavy with a scent of brine and decay. The bed sheets feel damp and soaked with seawater. Okay, so it's probably a dream, but a very realistic dream. Okay. Okay, now we'll roll for sanity because the everything is just turning into like we're underwater. Rehearsing. Let's see. Yeah, I'll roll for sanity. So right now my sanity is at 36. 30, 36. I rolled it exactly. Oh, right. I forgot we rolled successfully on credit rating, so that I think that can increase after I record here. So that's our first success roll. And for sanity, we're good. Nothing increases. You know what? I don't know if this is a house rule or if this is an actual rule, but if you success a sanity roll, can you improve it? Screw it. I'm going to do that. If it's a rule or not, I'm going to house roll it now. So, but on only measly D4. So I'm going to roll D4 right now. 3. Okay. So we're back to 39 on the sanity rating. Okay. I will tell the Oracle this. See what happens. We successfully rolled a sanity check. David seems to be used to it by now. At least something this familiar. I want to see how it handles the roll result. David takes a deep breath, steeling himself against the unsettling whispers. What is this tally? What price must be paid? He sits up in his bed, the manuscript growing faintly in the darkness. Okay, so because we successfully rolled the sanity check, it will go from the soggy feeling and smell of seawater into reality, where everything's just dry and calm, and he's walking up to the manuscript that's not glowing anymore. Story hack. It's roughly 3 a.m. in the morning. David wakes up, and as the dream sequence was occurring, he is walking, and the atmosphere transitions from the soaky underwater feel into reality, where he walks up to the table and sits in front of the manuscript. Oh, it caught me saying smoky, my mistake. That's okay. The manuscript lies open, its pages filled with cryptic symbols and names. Your name is circled in faded ink. A sense of dread creeping into your heart. Okay. So I think the manuscript is becoming more, how should I say, cooperative, open to be read. All right. David is deducing that he believes that the book is becoming more connected to him, more cooperative. It's not as defensive as it was before, not as chaotic evil. I'll keep it there. Let's see how the book responds. The Oracle's trying to push something here. With the whispers soften, becoming almost mournful. Vitality, it is the burden of the blood. It carries the weight. The room feels heavy, oppressive, but the icy chill recedes. Okay, so again, he's kind of overcoming this. The power of the book, whatever's behind the book, the supernatural forces, is beginning to recede. Now, I have an idea here. If it makes sense, I don't know, but I want to roll for occult. And basically, not Cthulhu Mythos, because we have no rating in that one, but occult. David is thinking, as I'm thinking right now, if he cuts himself just a little bit, if he punctures his finger, what do you call it, with a nail or something sharp, or he cuts his hand, and blood drips in the book, what will happen? That's what I'm thinking. So the roll for occult, it's again 15 or less. 34. Okay, so we don't know if this will do anything, but he's going to try it anyway. So if I rolled 15 or less, I would have known that this would have worked. Now I would have said story hack. David cuts his hand slightly to drip some blood on the book, and this causes something positive. But this will be unknown. David takes out a sharp item, a knife or something, and cuts his hand ever so slightly to drip some blood onto the pages of the book. He thinks this will cause something positive to happen, but he is not sure. After failing a occult roll, he is trying it willingly. Okay, let me change this roll to the other roll. Hopefully, it doesn't get too defensive here because cutting hands, it's technically violence. The blood falls onto the page, sizzling like acid. The symbols riff and shift, the whispers turning to screams. The room plunges in darkness, and a wave of icy power surges through you. Oh, I have an idea. Okay, so here, he's not technically transported to wherever Elias and the intruder went, but his mind is. He's envisioning wherever they went. Okay. Story hack. At this very moment, David envisions where Elias and the intruder got transported to. David is not being transported physically, but mentally he is seeing where they went. What does he see? Exactly. The vision bursts into your mind, a vast underwater city of cyclopean stone, lit by phosphorescent algae. The intruder, now transformed into a monstrous fish-like creature, is being dragged towards a towering palace by grotesque frog-like beings. Elias, unconscious, floats nearby, his body slowly sinking towards the inky depths. So, okay, I butchered a few of those words. Cyclopean stone, phosphorescent, phosphorescent, I believe, algae. Okay, but this is clearly a exaggerated vision that perhaps not it's truly what is occurring, but David will roll for sanity right now because this is just mind-numbingly crazy. 88. I failed. Okay, so David failed a sanity check. What happens to him? Aside from D4 loss and sanity points. Sandy. Okay, so I will lose D4. So I lost 3. Now we're back to 36. So I guess it is more of a delay the inevitable. We're back to 36. David screams, clawing at his eyes as the vision overwhelms him. He thrashes on the bed, and the manuscript falling onto the floor, whispers intensely, mocking his terror. The tally is paid. It is paid the blood it binds. Okay. So, let's see here. What can we do? It's early morning, roughly. Maybe he wakes up at 7, 8 a.m. in the morning. His alarm goes off. Or gets a phone call? Maybe? Well, who knows we're there. I know lobbies can call you to wake you up, like the front desk can call you as an alarm, but story hack, David wakes up due to his alarm going off, and the room seems completely normal. The book is on the table, unopened, and it seems as if it was just a dream, but it felt intensely real. Motel room is bathed in a pale light of dawn. The rain has stopped, and the only sound is the chirping of birds outside. A manuscript lies in the nightstand. Its pages closed. You pick it up, your fingers tracing the worn leather cover. It feels cold and inert. What is it all just a dream? Well, we didn't technically fail a sanity check, so it was not a dream, it was a vision, but he was obviously asleep. So, I have an idea. David slowly sits up. He sets his feet on the raggedy floor. What do you call it? What's the floor carpet type from the 70s? Shaggy carpeting. So let me redo this. Okay. David slowly sits up, sets his feet down on the shaggy carpeting, but he can feel the carpet feels wet. Not overwhelmingly wet, but moist. The radiator? I have an idea for this part. The dampness seeps through your socks, chilling reminder of the night's visions. You glance around the room, a sense of unease setting in your gut. Was it real, or are you all losing your mind? It's probably both. Uh, he does see the old churning window air condition overworking itself, leaking fluid that is seeping through the carpet. If that's how air conditioners work, I don't. I don't work HVAC. Um, the old air conditioner sputters and whistles, a steady drip of condensation. That makes sense, forming a small puddle on the floor. You realize it's source of the dampness, not some lingering supernatural residue. Well, for now. Okay. David readies himself for the morning, showers up, gets dressed, gets into his car. But something strange happens. Not supernatural, but by complete luck. I have an idea here. It's not supernatural. It's probably going to be a subplot. As you pull out of the motel parking lot, police car speeds past, its siren blaring. You glance in your rearview mirror to see it pull over a familiar figure. The old man from the waiting room, struggling to control his wheelchair as it veers erratically across the road. The old man? No, 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 no. So, I mean, the police car. Again, this is an oracle. It's not technically a dungeon master or keeper, though I've been treating it like one. But again, it's just trying to give me ideas to work off here. For this one, the police car is okay. We could just leave and get to Arkham, in a couple of hours with no problem. But I did want to start a problem here. I did want to conjure. There's an idea I'm trying to conjure. Basically, it would have been his ex-wife, the kid, and the fiance traveling up wherever north of Boston may be. I don't know where Arkham sits in the fictional map of Call of Cthulhu mythos, but um, that's what I'd rather have here. So, while story hack, let's change that. David is pulling back in his car, but he can see a nice SUV next door to him with the plate, realizing it belongs to his ex-wife. But there's no one in the car. That's what I'm gonna do. David's brow furrows as he recognizes Catherine's SUV. I think that's her name. Let's make sure. Yep, Catherine with a K though. But either way, he glances around the mostly empty motel parking lot, knot of unease tightening in his stomach. What is she doing here? Where is she now? So this is a subplot that is just kind of creeping in. Remember, in the hospital, she's mentioned the plans of the wedding and blah blah blah. That's where they're going. David remembers that she spoke about some wedding plans recently. Perhaps David thinks that perhaps they're traveling up north to find a venue. outside of town, though it's just a hunch. The motel's location and direction through Catherine's SUV is facing suggested possible route north towards the town like Salem or Newburyport, known for their historic venues. Okay, that's fair. So while he's pulling out, we can create drama here, or we can leave it. This is David's choice. David, right now, his mind is focused on the uh, whole supernatural thing, the source of the book, the issue, and finding the Watchers, even though they're fifth or sixth dimensional beings. Anyways, I think they are. I'm trying to think of Marvel or what dimensional beings uh, Watchers are. But anyways, that's a bad, terrible time of joke. He's trying to consider the options here. He knows that Catherine's probably a lost cause for him. He needs to move on, or he can stay, trying to see what's going on. Maybe something bad happened. Maybe they broke up. But I have a cynical idea. It could be that it's the fiance who's up here cheating on her, and he took her car. Maybe they borrow it, etc. They live together, or they are just up here stopping for the night, traveling up north. So, question for the Oracle: what could happen here? Could Catherine and their son step out of a motel room with their fiance, getting ready to leave? Let's see what happens. The motel door creaks open, and Catherine emerges, followed by Jacob and a tall, well-dressed man. He seems surprised to see David, their expressions mix of awkwardness and annoyance. Right, okay. I want to say that they're actually like further on the second floor. Motel 6 usually has two floors. They are maybe a little further down, and David parked just in front of his room, maybe in the middle of the motel on the bottom floor. Change that. Story hack. He does see the fiance, Catherine, and their son stepping out of a motel room, but it's on the second floor, top left corner, and they do not see David. David decides to continue on. He pulls out and leaves the motel parking lot. He doesn't want to get into any drama here because this will be very awkward. The image of his family leaving the motel room sticks in David's mind, but he pushes it aside, focusing on the road ahead. Arkham waits, and mysterious other manuscript beckon. So, footnote: his family, two-thirds of his family, remain nearby. They are on their way north, possibly to Arkham, and I have an idea which may or may not be a plot twist later. So, time check, 23 minutes. Now, let's continue. We're making our way towards Arkham. How much farther till we arrive at Arkham? The drive to Arkham is long and arduous. The rain is turning the highway into a treacherous maze. It'll be hours before you reach your destination. Okay. So I just had to do this. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. While David is driving, the rain is scattered, not too bad in condition, but he gets a flat tire. He is in a small town somewhere. He pulls off the side of the road. He steps out of the car. The rain has stopped, but the sky remains overcast, casting a gloomy pall over the deserted roadside. You pull out your phone to call for assistance, but the signal is weak, the call dropping repeatedly. A rusty sign creaks in the wind, is faded, paint barely visible. Welcome to Innsmouth, 5 miles. Okay. Now, this is where the twist I mentioned could happen. His family drives by and sees him. That could happen. Or just he hitches a ride to someone else. It's his car, though. Maybe this town has one car mechanic. So a couple of options here. Let's say his family drives by. As David is investigating the pop tire, clearly a nail, he sees a familiar SUV approaching and pulling off to the side, right behind him. The SUV pulls up behind you. Catherine steps out. Her expression makes of concern and annoyance. David, what are you doing here? And what's with the flat tire? Jacob steps out, concerned but also excited to see his father, runs up and hugs David. And the fiancée slowly steps out of the car. Who is the fiancé? What is his name? This is our first time meeting this person, so let's get some details here. All right, so fiancé, a tall, imposing man with a slick black back hair and sharp jawline, introduced himself as Mark. Oh, hi, Mark. He's he has a mixture of suspicion and disdain. Okay, so Mark, I love it. That's perfect. Oh, hi, Mark. All right. If I'm sure some of you get the reference, but it's from the room. Now, this is Catherine's. Did I spell her name right? Catherine's fiance. All right. Let's say story hack. Let's say that Mark has always been a very simple man and often respects and enjoys the company of David because Mark is very simple and David is very smart. Mark smiled warmly and extended a hand towards David. Hey, David, good to see you. What brings you out this way? Okay, so Catherine's probably, arms are crossed. Jacob is right next to us, and then this Mark is trying to inquire what's happening. We can't talk about the manuscript. I mean, like, we're looking for Cthulhu. Help me. We can't do that. Like, we can ask for a ride, or maybe he has a spare. Oh, here we go. Maybe he has a pump and a spare tire. I'm sure he's wealthy. David remembers that Mark is good with cars. He asks him if they can help him replace the tire, if they have a spare. Now, I'm going to do a roll here. This is mainly a roll for Catherine. I think Mark is openly willing to help, but Catherine probably not. Again, time constraint. She doesn't not exactly a fan of ours, but this is fast talk. I'll add an extra 40 because again, Mark is there and it's an environmental effect. So 45 or less, because again, he's a nice guy. 57, so it didn't work for her. Oh, I forgot to include the, there we go. So, Mark is willing to help, but not Catherine at first. Failed fast talk roll. There we go. Let's see what happens here. And I think we can actually erase Bade. There we go. Catherine folds her arms, tapping her foot impatiently. Mark, we don't even have time for this. We need to get to the venue. All right. Mark, what can you do? Maybe Jacob will jump in. Jacob pleads with Mark to help his dad. Or pleads. Mark, ever the good-natured peacemaker, pats Jacob's head. All right, buddy. We can spare a few minutes. Besides, he winks at David. We want not your dad and miss the big wedding. Okay, that's a gut punch right there. One punch. Okay, so yeah, that's where they're heading off to, or they're sightseeing. Now, Uh, there's no real like vehicle roll ride car a ride 5, but that's like for extreme conditions. So there is drive automobile. Oh yeah, there is one 20. Electric repair, mechanic repair 20. We have 20 on that. So I'm gonna roll 20 to see if he can help. Our character's really smart, but not in blue collar work, not fixing cars. So 20, 84. Yeah. So let's say Mark is able to help fix the tire or replace the tire, but David is completely useless. He failed a mechanical repair roll, but the tire is still replaced. Luckily, the tire in his back pocket. Mark tightens the last lug nut. He claps David on the shoulder. There you go, good as new. Now you two be careful out there. You too? Be careful out there. That might be an error. I don't think there's two of us. Now, a correction. David is driving alone. Mark smiles and nodding glint in his eye. You sure about that, David? Seems like you've got some company. I gesture towards the back seat where the manuscript lies hidden beneath a blanket. Oh, right. Oh, oh my God! I have a great idea. So, yeah, moments like this really help. Okay, so I'm going to do a spot hidden. This is again, this does kind of work together. Uh, it's so it's so expected, predictable, but I love it. I'm going to do a spot hidden roll. 69. No, 66. Fail anyway, so he doesn't see it. But I'll leave this for later. It's an easy thing to consider. Um, David is concerned as how he knows about the book or how he saw it. Not saw it. Let's see. Mark's mouth widens. He leans closer, his voice dropping to to a whisper, inspirational whisper. Don't worry, David. Your secret's safe from me. But you might want to be careful who you trust with that book. It's more than just a family heirloom. Okay. That's interesting. David's becoming very suspicious. He politely requests to Catherine, asking if he can speak to Mark in private off the side for a few moments. This is, again, this is kind of working out. Catherine, though hesitant, agrees, giving Mark a curious glance before stepping aside with Jacob. Mark gestures towards a quiet spot away from the cars, his expression unreadable. David asks Mark, what are you talking about? What do you know about the book? Mark's smile fades, replaced by a look of grim determination. David, he says, with his voice low, that book is connected to something ancient and powerful and dangerous. All right, this is perhaps not working out completely because the Oracle's taking the identity as as Mark here. Mark's just a random character. But let's rewind this and figure out a way, though, make him more creepily interested in the book. Oracle, let's take a step back here. Story hack. I don't want Mark to be so knowledgeable about the book just yet, at least in plain sight. But let's say Mark is awkwardly interested in getting his hands on the book after he can seemingly sense it. This is, in fact, a member of the Dagonites. Though let's not reveal that just yet. Mark or David is just incredibly suspicious right now. Though it does kind of make sense. If you think about it, before it reveals, I want to save that twist for this here in a second. Yeah, David's name was in this book for generations. So he was obviously marked, no pun intended. His name was marked in the book for years and years and years and years. And so he just happens to get divorced. And now this fiance, this simple man, comes into his life and now is latching on, just happening to go up north. Again, this all works out. I don't. The Oracle had some work in this, but I think I want to give myself some credit here that this actually makes a lot of sense. Mark's eyes dart towards the back seat, a flicker of greed crossing his face. That book. It's valuable, isn't it? A rare antique that could fetch a hefty price. All right. Psychology. So David's going to do a psychology roll here. I'm going to give him an extra 30 because, again, he has an advantage here. He's familiar that people are after this book. So let's say 45 with the 30 modifier. Looks like 9. Okay, so yeah. No, I'm sorry. Oh, 90. Damn it. Okay, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. The 9 was flipped. Okay, so he can't get a general read on the guy. He's just really suspicious. Failed psychology roll. David can't tell if Mark is a member of the Dagonites or he's just trying to be social, getting to know David. All right, let's see. Failed. Let me make sure I spell that right. Failed psychology roll. David can't tell if Mark is a member of the Dagonites or he's just trying to be social, getting to know David. David hesitates, unsure how to respond. Mark's interest in the book seems genuine, but there is an undercurrent of something else, something that makes David uneasy. Okay. While Mark is eyeballing the book, Catherine Catherine becomes very impatient and screams at Mark, telling them, "We have to leave now. We don't have time. The venue closes in 2 hours." All right. Not Walmart. Mark. That's funny. Walmart. Oh gosh. Okay. Mark sighs, casting a long glance at the back seat before turning to rejoin Catherine and Jacob. All right, let's go. All right. David takes a big sigh and a deep breath of relief. He waves goodbye and thanks Mark for the help. Mark, though, is still looking at the book over his shoulder without acknowledging David's thanks or wave. Jacob waves goodbye, smiles. Catherine doesn't do much, seems to give David the cold shoulder. They get in the car and drive off. Mark is still looking at the book while driving off. Oh no, I lost it. Okay. Controls D is everyone's best friend. All right, let's send this. This is a big one. So the SUV disappears down the road, leaving David alone with the thoughts and unsettling encounter with Mark. He glances at the manuscript and a shiver runs down the spine. It's time to get to Arkham and find some answers. All right, now I'm going to make a note here that Mark is with the Dagonites. Again, at first this seemed too convenient for me for the story, but at the same time, it makes complete sense. They broke up. David and Catherine broke up. They had a kid. Typical marriage, divorce, whatever. But the Dagonites, they know about the book. So for some time, they're formulating this plan to use Mark, if that's his real name, to cozy up and get to know and then eventually marry Catherine. Because maybe she was vulnerable. There was the rebound, whatever. They're going to get married. But they basically just use it to get close to Karen to get to know David, and so that Mark, this Dagonite member, is going to get his hands on the book. And he was so close, but he can't break his role just yet. They're going to a venue, but what we do know is that they're actually going up to that site, the Orkney Library, or at least following at some resembling a method of tracking while maintaining the uh, while he acts as the fiance, at the same time parallel to the task of staying near the book and waiting for the right moment to snag it. That's the twist. That's the big twist I wanted to do. Uh, since I recorded this episode, I didn't really consider this before, but I was wondering where can Catherine sit in this whole story. And when we're in the motel pulling out, I'm like, maybe they can be here. And again, the Oracle has been a big help, but I'm trying to put some effort into it. I can't be too reliant on AI, which we have been at some moments. But again, I want to be able to use some of my own brain power while I feel like complete crap right now. Anyways, this was a golden episode of detail. Obviously, not much action. We did get a few success rolls, or I got one for credit rating successful, which won't really do much. I'll roll a D8, a D10 and just see how much it increases. But anyways, I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. And it's definitely revealing out to be a mysterious, suspenseful, supernatural Call of Cthulhu campaign. So I hope you guys are liking it. Anyways, thanks for watching. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.